Hi, my name is Winifred, but everyone around here calls me Winnie. So I've been part of Gateway Church for 7 years. 4 years of them were with Hackestown Christian Church, and then when we relocated to Tullow, I came with the church, so I'm here 7 years. So I'm part of the worship team here at Gateway for the past few years as well. So you're probably wondering, like, why did I come to Gateway Church? Well, basically I was really nagged into coming to the church. I was invited that many times and I just wanted to silence that person, and I said I'll come along. So I came along, and it's been the best decision I ever made in my whole life. It was a transformation. But the first night that I did come to this church, I didn't give my life to God that night, because I was so broken, I was so downtrodden, and it was so different to what I was accustomed to in ordinary church. I grew up in a Catholic background, but we came the following Sunday, and that's when I gave my life to church, or to God, sorry, not to church, to God. So it has been a roller coaster. It has been a big experience for me over the past few years. Do you know, as I said, I went to Catholic church for most of my life, and during my teenage years, every Sunday without fail, I was in church. And I always believed growing up there was a call on my life to God, but I never understood what it meant until I actually stepped into ministry a few years back. But it took me 35 years to actually understand the meaning of Jesus. And when I did, my eyes were open, and I realised the importance of what Jesus did for me and for everybody here in this world. Things in my life didn't change straight away after I accepted Jesus into my life. I did test a lot of things because it wasn't what I known about Jesus. It wasn't the relationship that I had. I just did not understand him. So I had to develop that relationship with Jesus. I came from, as I said, from a broken place where I stopped trusting people because I was getting hurt by people so much. So it took me a while to actually trust Jesus and to give him a try. But I did give him a try, and I did eventually lean in more and more to Jesus, and things just accelerated after that. And I just relied on him so much. So it's been a transformation. I did try test things an awful lot, and I tried even in the church itself, I tried to walk away so many times. I tried testing people to walk away from this Jesus thing, but I couldn't do it. And I had such a strong community around me that they were building me from the ground up and just nourishing me. They were taking care of me, and they were really loving me back to life. And I got to see Jesus before I actually got into a relationship of Jesus through the people in the church. So I have heard, over the years I have heard of a God, and I had been searching for so long for something, and I went down the route of alternative things, and I still couldn't find what I was searching for. And I remember there was a lady in the church that said to me before that when you find it, you'll know it. And when I found Jesus, I knew this is it. My search was over. As for Jesus, it wasn't until I actually read a scripture, John 3:16, that I realised what Jesus had done for me. I didn't know the extent of the love that someone could show, and it actually brought me to my knees. It brought me to tears that someone could love me so much, because I didn't love myself whatsoever. It's after taking a lot of years to actually look in the mirror and love myself. But somebody else loved me, all my flaws and all my faults, they still loved me, and I wasn't perfect in any way. But when I accepted Jesus and got to know Jesus, I realised that I am perfect in his eyes, and we all are perfect in his eyes. So Jesus is the answer to everything in your life, and he became the answer to my life. He did. And now I don't know how I lived, but I wasn't living without Jesus, and I don't know how I could live without Jesus, or how anyone can live without Jesus. And I just want to encourage everyone, if you come from a place where I was, where I didn't believe even in a God at one stage, to where I am today, and I said, I'll give this Jesus thing a try, and you know what, it worked out. It worked totally for me, it did, and it can work for you. You know, when I came to church, as I said before, I was so broken, and I was literally on the ground. I could not see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I know so many people have felt exactly the same way. There was mornings where when I wake up, I'd be crying because I woke up. I just did not want to be here anymore. I just did not want this life. It wasn't a life that I was leading very well, and life had just brought me down so much. But Jesus built it back up. I started to see life differently when I turned to Jesus. And everything just turned around, everything was transformed. Where now it's like I'm living for every day. What can I do more? What can I do for the kingdom? What can I do for people? Where every day is a bonus for me, and I don't wake up crying anymore. So as well, like, I want to encourage people out there as well that, you know, there is an answer, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So when I went to my family and told them that I'm going to a little Christian church in Hackettstown at the time, there were a few little comments. Someone called me weird. So yeah, maybe I was just a little bit weird because they didn't understand what I just found out. Everything that I learned growing up in school and going to Mass was totally turned upside down when I learned about Jesus, and when I dived into the Bible. I never really read the Bible properly with open eyes, and when I did, it just jumped out at me, and I understand the truth of it. And they said the truth will set you free, and I became free with the words of God in the Bible. I was never encouraged to read the Bible, but that was just a revelation in itself. So my family, they eventually accepted me. They came and they visited with me to the church, but they still didn't understand the reason of it. But one comment they did make was that I had changed so much, and that I had such peace in my life, and they could see the peace coming over me, where I was always so depressed. Everything that I said was so negative, where now there was such positivity and such a hope and a future in everything that I was saying, and even in my life. And even as becoming a Christian, that, as I said, things didn't change overnight. I still went through storms and troubles and everything else, but I had the peace of Jesus in my life, and I could rely on him. And I seen that over time, that he got me through the storms of my life, and I knew that he would get me through the other storms of my life, and he will always be there. And there, in Psalm 23, it talks about green pastures, and I was always led through the valley and always landed on green pastures when I just handed everything over to Jesus, because I couldn't carry it alone. And that's what I was doing in my life. I was carrying all the burdens of life on my own, and when I handed him over to Jesus, he lifted that burden off me and he carried it for me. If you're tuning in for the first time and you're just wondering, or you're curious about Jesus, I just want to encourage you to try Jesus. Give him a try, just like I did. You have nothing to lose, only to gain. And it was the best decision I made, was to give him a try, as I say, and it just transformed me. And I know there's a lot of people out there as well that are like me, were suffering from depression, could see no light at the end of the tunnel, and just in the gutters. You can rise up from the gutters, you can. And when you get into a good church with good people around you, it will just build you back up. And that's what I had at Gateway Church, and still have at Gateway Church. A good community around me to support me, not just in the storms, but support me in my blessings as well, and celebrate with me. So if you're tuning in for the first time and you just want to have a little taste of what I got, just come to Gateway, come to Jesus.